Hey boys and girls, I hope you're having a good night. I just got home from the gym and I'm ready to get real or irrational. So this is your first homework assignment on the real number system. So let's get started. If I can figure out how to go to the next slide. There we go. So the first thing we're going to talk about are natural numbers. Now natural numbers are the numbers that you can count. So physically on your hand, the numbers that you can count. So those include numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Now there's no natural number that's too big, so it can go on forever. And it's only positive numbers. So this does not include negatives, and it also does not include 0. So natural numbers, the numbers that you can count, they're positives, and they do not include 0. The next concept would be whole numbers. So whole numbers, there's not a huge difference from natural numbers. Those are the numbers that you can count as well, and they include 0. So the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, and they include 0. So that's the only difference between natural numbers and whole numbers. Then we have integers. You hear this term a lot in 6th and 7th grade, but integers are really your natural numbers, your whole numbers, plus your negatives. So integers are, some examples would be negative 14, 35, 94. So all of your integers are your whole numbers, including 0, and your negatives. Then we have something called rational numbers. This is a term that should be fairly new to you. Rational numbers are any numbers that can be written as a fraction or as a decimal. So I have some examples here. So 4/1 is an example of a rational number. 0.50 is another example. 1/2. So they're all of your fractions and decimals. And I have a visual here to kind of explain it a little bit better. So all numbers are what's called real numbers, not fake, real numbers, right? The real number system. So as you notice here on the little chart, we have natural numbers. So those are all of your numbers that you can count, and they're positive. They do not include 0. Then you have whole numbers, which are your natural numbers plus 0, still only positives. Then we go a little bit further out, we have integers, which are all of your positive whole numbers, and this is when you start with your negative numbers as well. So it's all of your negative numbers and all of your positive numbers, and 0. Then all of your rational numbers are numbers that you can write as a fraction or a decimal. Then hanging out over here, we have something called irrational numbers. I'm going to kind of explain what irrational numbers are. So irrational numbers are numbers that can't be expressed as a fraction. So AKA, they're numbers that when written as a decimal, they go on forever and they do not repeat. So they might not even have a pattern. So an example of an irrational number would be pi. Pi is a number that goes on forever, and it doesn't repeat. There's no pattern within the number. Tomorrow we're going to talk about some other examples of irrational numbers. So I have a little video here to show you. This is one way to help remember something a little bit about irrational numbers. Make sure your volume's up.
Forever, 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 forever.
So rational numbers go on forever. If you can name this movie, I also want you to write it down on your graphic organizer as well. So this is what your homework for today is going to be. You're going to take the graphic organizer, and it might look a little bit different than this. And you're going to do one of two things. You're going to either write the definition of each of these numbers, types of numbers, in the box, or you can write examples. You have a choice. So if examples help you remember what they are, you can put examples. Or if the definition helps you remember what they are, you can write the definition. And somewhere around the outside, or maybe within the irrational numbers, I want you to name that movie where they say forever, to kind of help you remember what an irrational number is, or one of the types of irrational numbers are those numbers that go on forever without any repetition or pattern within the number. Okay, I will see you tomorrow, and I look forward to hearing what your comments are as far as watching the video. If you have any questions, make sure you come into class prepared to ask those questions. All right, have a great night, everyone. What? You telling me to get real? All right, whatever.